Adventure Land in Lenox, Alabama. It is October the 4th, 2023. Tonight is Whack an Atheist Wednesday. We're going to whack a fellow named Jon Perry. You may have never heard of him. I think you will understand when we get done. We'll get into that in a minute. Okay, we're on Rumble, official on Genesis Baptist Church on YouTube, and Kent Hovind official on Odyssey. And get a bunch more on drdino.com, our website. Okay, the Bible says we should not be deceived. Don't be deceived. Be not deceived. Be not deceived 6 times. It's easy to get deceived. How many people did Hitler deceive into following him? How many people did Mao Zedong deceive, or Jim Jones, or many others down through history? This evolution religion is deceiving people. Be not deceived. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Good way to memorize scriptures with a song like that. Okay, so we're at Dinosaur Adventure Land in Lenox, Alabama, straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles, or 62.8 or whatever. I don't care what it is. Depends what part of Pensacola. Depends what part of Lenox, too, but Lenox is a little more, it's pretty tight-knit. Okay, anyway, we believe God should get the glory. Come on up and see our amazing Dinosaur Adventure Land. It's amazing up here. Come on up. We have hundreds of spiritual lessons and science lessons. We just finished digging out all of our lakes. Now we need to move the dirt. So we're looking for a front-end loader, fast, okay? Still don't have one. That's what we're looking for, something like that. They're only about, $80 million or something? Laszlo found a nice one for $35,000. Anyway, help us out. Pray for that if you would. Okay, October the 4th. Tonight, Jon Perry did the website Stated Clearly. You'll see why in a minute. Tomorrow night, I have a debate on standing for truth. Donnie is booking a bunch more debates. He said, Brother Hovind, we got to get you over 400. I said, well, yeah, bring them on. I'll take them all on. Okay. If you want to help us to open for free, join our 777 Club. Say, I like what they're doing. Go to drdino.com. Make any checks if you want to help to CSE. We've been open for free for 7.5 years now. Going to keep it that way. Whack an Atheist Wednesday is a game we play, a fun game, here at Dinosaur Adventure Land. It's based on the whack-a-mole game. They stick their head up, we whack them back down. Okay? Stick their head up, whack them back down. With sweetly in Christian love. I've got a hammer here. Oh, here it is. Oh, better keep that there, hadn't I? It's preventing the millstone from rolling off my deck. Okay, I do have a hammer. Okay, let's see. Small children can learn to love and play whack-a-mole, okay? Adults love whack-a-mole. Whack an atheist, you wait for an atheist to stick his head up and make a silly claim that evolution is true, and whack him back down. Okay, we've whacked quite a few atheists on our whack an atheist program every Wednesday night. Some are hard-headed, need whacked over and over. Anyway, the winner tonight, Jon Perry. He does a website about teaching science and teaching evolution, and he does an excellent job of teaching and an excellent job with his graphics. But he's teaching the wrong thing. When evolution causes certain juvenile features to be retained in adults. So he's got his skull of an ape and the skull of a human, showing that they have a common ancestor. John, I'm sorry, you are wrong. They have a common designer, okay? Jon Perry, Genetics and Evolution Stated Casually. He's got one YouTube channel stated clearly and one stated casually. His stated, let's see, where is it? Nope. Stated clearly has like nearly 400,000 subscribers, whole bunch, okay? He's an educator and an artist. He believed he could combine his skills to produce animations that would make scientific concepts more approachable and easier. And he does a great job explaining things like atoms and stuff like that. John grew up in a family of educators. So did I, okay? His father was a principal. His mother was a school teacher that worked in the U.S. public school system. He looked for better ways to present content to students through multimedia. Jon Perry, 2012, he founded Stated Clearly as a way to share his passion for the scientific process. I'm in favor of that, John. We should always look for ways to teach science in ways that are fun and the kids will learn and remember. That's what our science center is for down here, and our playground and everything we do here, okay? And to make biological evolution more approachable. Now, right there is where you are wrong, John. I want you to stop and think about what you think about, okay? Genetics and Evolution Stated Clearly. Here it is, 527,000 subscribers. Okay. We produce animations on genetics, evolution, biology, and chemistry, blah, blah, blah. Okay. When evolution causes certain juvenile features to be retained, he did a lot of videos that are excellent quality with animations, almost 5 million views on his one, What is the Evidence for Evolution? What is evolution? What is natural selection? 3 million views. He's influencing a lot of people. And Jon, you're an excellent teacher, excellent videos, wrong topic. You are lying to people about evolution. I want to whack you tonight for your own good, okay? What is DNA and how does it work? Excellent video. What is a gene? Evidence for evolution in the mud skipper's eye. That is baloney. Evolution's hidden wild card. Anyone who teaches others to believe in evolution is in serious trouble when they stand before God. Jesus said, "Whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and he were drowned in the depth of the sea." Here is a little millstone. You carve a stick into a square shape and stick it in there to be able to turn it and grind wheat. Here's another little millstone someone gave us for our science center here. And then, I didn't try this. Did I have my Wheaties today? Here is a bigger millstone. Some of them are 10 feet diameter and got to weigh 20 tons, okay? And they turn them to grind something up. And Jesus said, you'd be better off with a millstone hanged about your neck and be thrown into the sea than to offend a little child. Teaching somebody something that is not true, like evolution, you're in trouble when you stand before God. Unless you can swim with a 100-pound rock around your neck, I think you should stop doing this, okay? James said, "Be not many masters," that's teachers, "knowing we shall receive the greater condemnation." So Jon did a video about the evidence for evolution, and here's his evidence: comparative anatomy. Let him talk for himself here. Stated clearly.
Stated Clearly presents, what is the evidence for evolution? The theory of biological evolution makes two very bold claims about living creatures. First, all living things on Earth are related. They evolved from a common ancestor.
And that is a claim. That is not science, okay?
Second, the evolution of living things is powered by natural processes. Things which can...
See, he does excellent graphics. Little lizard flicking his tongue out. We need Christians who got this kind of skill to start using their talent for the Lord instead of sitting around playing video games all day. Use your talent to produce something on creation like this. Jon does a great job of producing videos that kids will learn from. The lesson here is, look, the green one blended in, so he didn't get eaten. Okay? Nothing was created in this. It's selected, the one that blended in better. Natural selection works. It's got nothing to do with evolution.
Can be studied and understood. But is there really any evidence that these two claims are true? Yes.
No.
There are so many observable facts from so many different fields of study.
This is a bold claim you're making, Jon. I will debunk every single one of them one at a time if you'd like. Call Standing for Truth and schedule a debate. Pick your best evidence for evolution. I'm going to pick on only two of them tonight. It's all we got time for. There is no evidence of any animal ever changing into a different kind of animal. God said they'd bring forth after their kind. That's all that's ever happened. So I'm sorry, you are mistaken, or you've been brainwashed, or you're deliberately lying. I don't know which it is, Jon, okay?
The only way we can even begin to talk about them is to group them into categories or lines of evidence.
I agree. Great way to do it. Here's your lines of evidence. One by one, they can all be debunked. In your mind, they all add up to a cumulative. A detective does this. He finds 10 bits of evidence that somebody's guilty of a crime and tries to put it together and convince a jury. But if each one of them is a lie or fabricated, there's no cumulative evidence either. None of these hold up as evidence for evolution, and together they still don't hold up. But you're going to slowly brainwash people into believing with your lines of evidence. We'll talk about that in a minute.
That's right. Keep things simple. Here we'll focus on evolution's first claim that all living things on Earth are related. We cannot tackle the entire tree of life at once. After all, there's an estimated 8.7 million species alive today. So instead, we'll focus most of our attention on one fairly small but fascinating branch of the evolutionary tree, cetaceans. This branch includes whales, dolphins, and porpoises.
You're starting with the assumption that there is a tree and there is a branch. Are you willing to consider the idea that maybe God created them independently as is? in your mind, it's already settled. They did evolve, and they are connected. It's already settled. That's not science, John.
Biologists tell us that all these creatures are closely related, and that the entire group evolved from an ancient four-legged land mammal.
Okay, the biologists can tell us all they want. Where's the science? That's not science because a bunch of people claim it to be true. A bunch of Hitler's people claimed he was the best ever and we should conquer the world too. Doesn't make it true. So I'm sorry, you are mistaken here, John. This is an argument for majority opinion. Doesn't matter if a bunch of biologists believe something or teach something.
Instead of taking their word for it, let's look at the facts. We'll start by looking at a few from the field of comparative anatomy, the study of differences and similarities between living things. Whales live in water, and from a distance, they sort of look like giant fish. A close inspection of their anatomy, however, tells us a very different story. Whales, just like land mammals but unlike fish, have placentas and give live birth. They feed milk to their young. They are warm-blooded, which is extremely rare for a fish. And whales do not have gills. Instead, just like us, they breathe air with two fully developed lungs. Whales don't seem to have noses like mammals do. Instead, they breathe through blowholes coming out the tops of their heads. Some whales have two blowholes which almost look like nostrils, but dolphins and porpoises only have one. Surprisingly, if you look at their skulls, you find that the blowhole splits into two nasal passages inside the head. Could it be that the blowhole is actually a highly modified mammal nose?
John, could it be it was designed that way? See, you offer, it's called the false dilemma. You offer two options here, neither one of which is correct. Are elephants orange or are elephants green? How do I answer that question? They're neither one, okay? But you leave out the design option all the time, John. We're going to help you here.
It looks that way, but we'll need more evidence to be sure. Many whales have hair, just like land mammals. In this photograph, you can actually see the whiskers of this baby gray whale as he rests his chin on mama's back. Strangely, whales have arm, wrist, hand, and finger bones inside their front flippers.
Now, John, could it be they need those different bones to have flexibility? You know, they have to twist and move their flippers to swim around. You don't just flap a stiff board. They have to maneuver them. Okay, they can cuddle their baby with them. So could it be it was designed to do exactly what it does? Is that even an option with you?
Here's a photo of these bones, the same bones that bats, hippos, and people have in their front appendages. One bone, two bones, wrist, hand, and finger bones.
Can you imagine a 6th or 7th grader looking at this thinking, wow, he has just proven evolution, hasn't he? No, they might be designed to do exactly that. To me, that looks like the same guy might have designed them all. You even think about that option, John? Or would you lose your job if you presented that?
Modern whales do not have back legs, but they do have a strange pair of bones where the hind legs should be. Here's a picture of these bones from a bowhead whale.
That's the one from a bowhead whale. Here's one from a different whale. This is an actual bone. It has a blood supply and a nerve supply. Okay? This is part of the whale's reproductive system. This has nothing to do with walking on land. It never was a leg. And John, I don't know if you're capable of thinking about this, but if this was a vestigial structure, and it's not, it's an example of losing a leg, not gaining a leg. Show me the examples of any animal gaining anything. You're saying they lost their legs. Where's the example of them gaining something? Oh, let's see.
Almost look like shriveled hip, thigh, and shin bones. This one even has a ball and socket joint between the hip and thigh bone, just like the ball and socket joint in your own hip. Is this resemblance a mere coincidence, or...
There's one option. Is it a mere coincidence? Are they real leg? In the dark, underwater, arms can't talk and say, scoot over, honey. Yeah, he's got a 15-foot penis he's got to maneuver around, and these bones are designed to do exactly that. You are mistaken, John. You give two false options. You're either confused or you're lying. I don't see a second option.
perhaps leftovers from the whale's evolutionary history. Before we draw any bold conclusions, let's see if
You already drew a bold conclusion. You didn't even give the other option of design to do what they do. The whales seem to like them as is.
A completely separate line of evidence will confirm our suspicions. Embryology is the study of how creatures develop before being born or hatching from an egg. Here we see a dolphin and a human embryo side by side at similar stages of development. Notice that they both have what look like arm buds and leg buds. In humans, the leg buds grow to become legs. In whales, they grow for a while but then stop, effectively fading away as the rest of the whale continues to grow.
That's because they get absorbed into the body tissue and the bones stay there. They're part of the whale's reproductive system. Study some whale anatomy, John. Don't brainwash your followers.
These are all photographs of a common dolphin at different stages of growth. Notice that early on, we see two nostril grooves on the front of the face, just like you'd expect in a puppy or a human. As the dolphin continues to grow, the nostrils migrate to the top of the head and fuse together, becoming the dolphin's blowhole.
No, never mind. We'll save that for another night. Okay.
So far, we have multiple facts from two independent lines of study.
You have facts, and they're from independent lines, but your interpretation of these facts is wrong. Okay? It's a fact the animals have similarities. It is not a fact that supports evolution. It is a fact these animals have blowholes. That does not support evolution. You're using your great talent for teaching and for animation to turn people away from God. How do you like swimming with a millstone?
Comparative anatomy and embryology that are both telling us the same story.
No, they're not telling us the same story. You're interpreting them to match your story. Let me go back to a few of my slides. So I'll come back to John in a minute here. Okay. So comparative anatomy and embryology. Does homology, the fact that the arm bones, does that support evolution? They look similar? There's a great article on creation.com about this. Does homology provide evidence of evolutionary naturalism? No. An evaluation of homology as evidence for evolution. That some similarities exist when certain aspects of life forms are compared is obvious. The question is, does the similarity that exists prove that one structure evolved into another, and ultimately that the complex evolved from the simple? The simplest and most obvious explanation for the fact that morphology, similarities between bones, sensory organs, lungs, or gills exist among higher animals is that the requirements of life are similar. Maybe they both got two bones in their forelimb because they have to move it and twist it around. The whale has to flip his around to swim. Humans have to flip theirs around to pick things up. Two bones in the wrist is a neat design. And two bones in the flipper, I'm sure the whale's able to maneuver his flipper around. That's not evidence of a common ancestor, John. Why can't you see that? Let's see. Exist among higher animals is the requirements of life are similar. And some designs are preferred in constructing animals because these designs are superior to competing designs. Now, this article is from England, so they spell tires T-Y-R-S. Okay. All automobile, bicycle, and pushcart tires are round because this design is superior for the function of most tires. Square tires and octagon tires don't work very well. Round works best. Okay. Does not prove common descent, but common design by engineers throughout history because of the superiority of the round structure for rolling. You don't get that, do you, John? It's true. Animals have similar forelimb structures. Only because you choose to interpret it to mean evolution is your problem. I look at it and say, wow, they're all designed. They're amazing the way they're designed. These homologous structures provide evidence that these animals evolved from a common ancestor. Could they also provide evidence they had a common designer? Why don't the textbook authors share this as an option? Bones develop from different genes in different organisms. If you really study the anatomy of these different bones, it's true they're similar, but they come from totally different gene structure. I think God did that on purpose. You need to really study that so you'll see your evolution religion doesn't work, okay? Let's see. Comparative anatomy provides further evidence of evolution. The commonalities suggest these and other vertebrate animals are all related. They probably evolved from a common ancestor. This is propaganda. This isn't science. This is actually a lie. These similarities could just as easily be evidence for a common designer, but you won't even consider that, will you? Okay? Here's how the biased folks at Scientific American think how the situation is in America back 20 years ago with how the states teach evolution. They think the folks in California are doing a great job teaching evolution. They think the folks in Alabama are doing a terrible job. Yay, go Bama, okay? It's absolutely safe to say if you meet someone who claims not to believe in evolution, that person is ignorant, stupid, or insane, or wicked. Richard Dawkins said that. I agree. They are stupid for believing in it, and he thinks it's insane to not believe in evolution. Richard, anytime. We did a whole bunch of videos on him, okay? Evolution. Evolution provides a single common language that enables biologists in all fields to share information with one another. Why is it that researchers can learn about human DNA by studying the rest of genes of yeast? Because humans and yeast share a common ancestor. This is baloney. This is propaganda. Karl Popper said, evolution is not a fact. Evolution doesn't even qualify as a theory or hypothesis. It's a metaphysical research program. It's not testable science. Huxley, who worked with Darwin, said, I suppose the reason we leapt at Origin of Species, we liked that book, was the idea of God interfered with our sexual mores. Oh, you don't like anybody telling you what to do you? Please hold still, okay? Evolution is promoted by its practitioners as more than mere science. Evolution is promulgated as an ideology, a secular religion, a full-fledged alternative to Christianity, with meaning and morality. I am an ardent evolutionist and an ex-Christian, but I must admit that in this one complaint, Mr. Gish is but one of many to make it. The literalists are absolutely right. Evolution is a religion. This is true of evolution in the beginning, and it's true of evolution today. Thank you, Michael, for being honest. Evolution is a religion. Evolution's a fairy tale for grown-ups. It has helped nothing in science. The theory is useless. Muggeridge said, I'm convinced the theory of evolution, especially the extent to which it's been applied, will be one of the great jokes in the history books of the future. I agree. I'm going to help speed that process if I can. Posterity will marvel that so flimsy and dubious an hypothesis could be accepted with the incredible credulity that it has. Scientists who go about teaching evolution as a fact are great con men. John, you're a con man. You're teaching a lie. Now, you may really believe it, and you may just be teaching it for money. I don't know. I don't know your heart. But what you're teaching is a lie, okay? They don't have an iota of fact for evolution. The only way life could have come into existence is because of some super intelligence having created it. I agree, Mr. Hoyle. So why does Jon Perry believe in this and teach it? Maybe that's all. Oh, hey, I forgot the why. Maybe that's all he's been taught. In Russia, that's all they teach, evolution, no options, okay? Does he believe in it? It's all he's been taught. Maybe his job depends on it. Maybe he makes a lot of money off his YouTube channel, and if he didn't teach evolution, they wouldn't watch it, would they? I don't know, okay? Maybe he hopes there's no God to answer to one day. 75 years later, why did Germans follow the Nazis? Why did 55 million people follow Hitler? What was their reasoning? Why did 912 people follow Jim Jones and committed suicide? Why? Why do people follow Mao Zedong and his stupid communist religion? Okay? Why did people follow Joseph Stalin? Why do people follow Charles Darwin? Well, the Bible says they did not like to retain God in their knowledge. So God gave them over to a reprobate mind. They trespassed against the Lord their God and their fathers, who therefore gave them up. Psalm 84, I gave them up to their own heart's lust. God turned and gave them up to worship the host of heaven. You want to believe a star created you? Okay, God will let you do it. God gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts. Romans, God gave them up to vile affections. For this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. John, you claim there's evidence for evolution from comparative anatomy. There isn't. That's evidence of a common designer. The same guy designed them all, or a common need to do common things in the world, okay? Then you're going to talk about embryology and development. The embryo having gill slits. John, where have you been? You're way behind on your science. This textbook says, similarly, humans and fish embryos resemble each other because humans and fish share a common ancestor. Darwin considered this the strongest class of facts in favor of his theory. Ernst Haeckel called it the biogenetic law. We'll talk more about Ernst Haeckel in a minute. Those little folds of skin are not gill slits. They are lying to you, okay? They never have anything to do with breathing. In the human, those folds of skin grow into bones in the ear and glands in the throat. Nothing to do with breathing ever, okay? Here's a fat guy with 5 or 6 chins. He can't breathe through any of them but the top one, all right? Haeckel said the turning point in his thinking was when he read Darwin's book. Darwin wrote his idiot book. Haeckel read it and loved it and said, man, if only we had some evidence. Haeckel took drawings of embryos. He taught embryology at the University of Jena. He was the teacher to teach how babies and animals grow inside the mother. He faked the drawings and made them look exactly alike. He doctored the drawing of a dog and a human to make them look the same and published them in his book as evidence for evolution. Here's the real, what they really look like on top. Here's his fake drawings underneath. Haeckel made charts like this of his fake drawings and published it in 1874. I'm sorry, 1869. On top are his drawings. Underneath are actual photographs. Let's see, that salamander, either he's a lousy artist or he's lying. Well, we now know he was lying. His own university held a trial and convicted him of fraud. Imagine the university convicting one of their own professors of lying with his fake drawings, okay? He said, a small percentage of my embryonic drawings are forgeries. He said, I had to fill in and reconstruct the missing links by hypothesis. I see. He said, I should feel utterly condemned, except that hundreds of other people lie, so it's okay for me to lie. The biogenetic law, as they call it, has become so deeply rooted in biology that it cannot be weeded out. It's still in the textbooks, even though it was proven wrong at a trial in 1874. This biogenetic law is as dead as a doornail. So, John, why are you still teaching it? Okay? 1997, George's Medical Hospital Medical School in London. Haeckel confessed to drawing from memory and was convicted of fraud, but the drawings persist. I have a collection of biology textbooks from the 1800s all the way to 2020. They are still teaching this fake idea of Haeckel's drawings. University of West Florida, Pensacola, when I was down there 20 years ago, still teaching, using Haeckel's exact same chart. Didn't change a thing. The presence of fish-like structures in embryos shows that these animals evolved from fish. Still using Haeckel's drawings in Ireland. Darwin's book, Origin of Species, published 1859. Haeckel faked his drawings in 1869. 1874, he was convicted of fraud by his own university. So story should be over. But no, here's a 2002 textbook still teaching the embryos got gill slits. Are these students getting educated or indoctrinated and brainwashed? Let's see. Holt Biology, still teaching it, one of the top 4 publishers of textbooks. Glencoe Biology, still teaching embryos have gill slits. The myth, Tim Barra, still teaching it, okay? He's wrong. Ken Miller, a Catholic teacher in Rhode Island at the school up there, still writes biology books, still teaching. It's crazy. Ken, you're lying. Ken Miller's teaching evolution is as much a fact as gravity. Ken, you got brainwashed, okay? Just to keep your job at a Catholic school because they believe in evolution, all right? Holt Science, still teaching Haeckel's fake drawings 20 years later, or 20 years ago. Let's see. They have similarities among vertebrate embryos suggest evolution from a common ancestor. No, they don't. First of all, they're not similar. Secondly, they could suggest a common design. Maybe they got to go through certain stages as they grow. Maybe the skin has to grow before the guts grow so the guts don't fall all over the place. I mean, maybe there's a sequence here. I bet the cars are generally made, the frame is made first. If you put the windshield in before there's a frame, I think you're going to have a hard time, aren't you? Billy, you put windshields in. Would that be wise to have a frame before you put the windshield? Yeah, maybe there's a sequence of events that have to follow here. Campbell Biology, 2017 right here, still using Haeckel's fake evidence. They didn't use his drawings, but they used the same concept. 2014 biology book, still using Haeckel's drawings. 2020 biology tech. Is that this one on my desk here? Oh, yeah, they make these things bigger. Okay, here we go. 2020, a couple years ago, biology textbook, still teaching. Some of the strongest anatomical evidence supporting evolution comes from comparisons of how organisms develop. Embryos of different types of vertebrates, for example, are often similar early on, yet become more different as they develop. And this is evidence for evolution? This is plain baloney, propaganda, lying, okay? Similarities provide evidence that these animals evolved from a common ancestor. They're teaching this in biology textbooks all over the world, and they're lying. Tell them all I said so, okay? Arms in Camp, back in 91, 30 years ago, teaching a 5 to 6 week human embryo is said by 7 months, the fetus looks from the outside like a tiny normal baby, but it's not. It's not a baby at 7 months. This is a lie. Babies are often born at 7 months. 34% of babies born at 5.5 months survive. And that was back in 1998. I think medical science has improved. It's higher now. Maybe somebody can Google that, right? Here's Samuel Alexander, 21-week-old embryo growing in the mother. Mother had to do surgery on the baby before it was born. Cut the uterus open. The baby's holding the doctor's finger. So, John, you say there's evidence for evolution from embryology. John, you're an excellent teacher and produce good quality videos, but you are teaching the wrong stuff. Very simple. You understand? Hitler had some excellent marksmen and some brilliant generals and some engineers that produced high-quality weapons and vehicles, didn't they? Some of the German stuff produced in World War II was just a marvel. Some of the snipers were incredible, but they're fighting for the wrong side. Let me play him just a few more minutes here. All right. Here. So you're saying embryology and homology is evidence for evolution.
The ancestors of whales were once four-legged land creatures. Will the fossil record act as a third witness, confirming it?
Okay. That's long enough for tonight. John, let me explain to you simply in Christian love. There is no such thing as a fossil record. There are fossils, bazillions of them. They're not a record. They don't talk. Okay? They don't have a date stamped on them. There is no such thing as a geologic column. No such thing. Does not exist. If the layers are different ages, John, focus now. If the top layer is younger, like you think it is, where did it come from? Did it come from outer space? Is material being added to the earth sufficient to make all these layers that you see in Grand Canyon? No, John. All of the layers are shuffled up. If I shake this thing up, tip it over, it'll make 20 or 30 different layers. The layers are all the same age, John. There's no such thing as a geologic column. There's no such thing as a fossil record. I'm sorry. I'll have to whack you again another night, but look, would you please call me, John? 855 BIG-DINO, extension 3. Say, Ken Hovind, my name is Jon Perry. Let's talk. Better yet, come visit Dinosaur Adventure Land. Satan is deceiving people, okay? Saying, oh, here's the evidence for evolution. It's right over here. He's a liar. And the blind leading the blind. And John, I'm sorry, this is you. You're leading people to believe in evolution. Public schools use your excellent videos in their schools to teach kids evolution. How many students' faith have you destroyed? Can you swim with a millstone? Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. That's what you're doing, John. You're deceiving people. God's not a man that he should lie. The devil's the liar. God promised. God cannot lie. He said, whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. He said, thou shalt not bear false witness. You're bearing false witness, John. You broke that commandment. Thou shalt not steal. I don't know if you ever stole anything or not, but I think if you just look at God's commandments, you would have to say, like I would have to say, guilty, guilty, guilty. We're guilty.
Here's the shortest pregnancy right there.
Okay, Guinness Book of World Records, most premature baby to survive was born at 21 weeks.
In Alabama.
In Alabama. Okay. All right. Amen. John, you're guilty. If you died today, where would you go? Smoking or non-smoking? You're going to be dead for a long time, John. So am I. I'm going to try to make it the last thing I do. But all you get in this life is a little dash between two dates. And you are using your excellent teaching skills and your excellent animation graphics to teach kids to doubt God. That's what you're using your life for. I hate to see that. We need guys like you on the creation side to use the same stuff and teach creation. Get saved, give your heart to the Lord, and start using your talents for him. What on earth are you doing, for heaven's sake? Everybody ought to find something to do for the kingdom. Okay, questions and comments, and let's quit.
Yes, sir. That's why I wanted to.
What now?
This first one's about your slides, probably.
Can you show super cool ice becoming magnetic? I've researched for hours, couldn't find anything. I couldn't call it up quickly. My video number 6 of my series, if you look there, you can take the slide screen down, bro. Video 6 about the Hovind theory, what happened. I don't think there's a question about ice. When you get down to 400 below zero, it becomes magnetic. I've never seen anybody argue about that. I've got all the references on screen when I show that stuff, but I got 50,000 slides. It'd take me a minute. Okay, let's see. Mick, I wanted to know what Kent's thoughts are on the research being conducted by scientists at CERN, the Large Hadron Collider. I didn't get a clear answer the other day because I don't know enough about it. Mick, go to icr.org. They've got physicists there that are up on top of all that stuff who can tell you exactly what are they really trying to accomplish with CERN over there in Switzerland. I guess it's partly in France or Italy or something.
Half in France, half in Switzerland.
Half of France, half of Switzerland, yeah. Okay. We'll see. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. Let's see. By measuring anatomical details of embryos and features of dolphins and whales, scientists have determined, not me, I'm a scientist, I didn't determine it, crybaby. They've determined the key anatomical changes that flip the orientation of the nasal passage up. I'd be willing to bet $5 that there is a gene in the gene code that directs it when it gets to a certain stage of development to move it to the top. Now, he pointed to 2 dents on the front and said these look like nostrils. They're just dents in the skin. We don't know that they're nostrils at all, okay? But he pointed that out in his drawing and said, oh, look, it looks like nostrils. Well, the actual breathing is up on top of the head. So I don't know what those dents on the front are, okay? Some people have dimples in their cheek. Can they breathe through them? No, okay. Okay, why would whales be designed to have to constantly surface for air when they could have been given the ability to extract O2 directly from the water like fish? I don't know, why don't you design one better? The whales are mammals, they breathe air. I think they seem to like life as is. Why didn't God design us to breathe once when we're born and be done for life? Why do you have to keep breathing? Why? What a dumb evidence for evolution that would be to say, well, look, the whale has to come up to breathe, therefore it came from a rock. Okay. We need a nickname for Scientific American.
His favorite nickname is Huge Loss. He loves that one.
Try to whack Billy Carson. Whack is misspelled, but okay, let's see. Who's Billy Carson? Anybody know? I already have a list of nearly 200 that I need to whack. Okay, I'm going as fast as I can go. Tomorrow night, debate, all right? Tell Billy to call me. We'll just have a debate on standing for truth.
Just a couple more.
Couple more, okay. Also, is Ken aware that God and evolution are not exclusive concepts? You can't accept both. Well, you can't accept the God of the Bible and evolution. What do you mean by evolution, first of all? Do you mean dogs and coyotes had a common ancestor? Sure, no problem. God said they'd bring forth after their kind. Here's my Bible. Okay. 24 times in the first 7 chapters, God said they would bring forth after their kind. Can you think of any examples where that didn't happen? Has any farmer in the world ever seen his cow produce a non-cow or his dog produce a non-dog? Nobody's ever seen this. You can imagine it if you like, but it's not science, okay? So no, not the God of the Bible and the evolution religion cannot be blended, okay? You may have a different God you want to blend in there. Joe, my house is related to the neighbor's house because blueprints were used to build each. Joe, if they use the same blueprints for both of them, you're right. Your house is related. That's amazing.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Bye.